Okay, we did. Let's take a look. Okay.
Yeah.
So when I left last night, I didn't see that girl still here, but I did see a pile of orange peels. So she had a snack, and I guess she got picked up. So when you log into QuickBooks, the first thing that comes up is we have this checklist at the top. If you don't want to see it anymore, you can always turn it off. And it's basically just doing what we're doing. Now they go through some other things like doing the mobile app and all that. So if you're interested in doing that, you could certainly go through that. I'm going to minimize it. And you'll see down below, this is how QuickBooks normally opens up. And you have all these icons. And you could start doing invoices right from this screen right here. So you don't have to go into the left-hand side and use the menus. But again, that's up to your own personal preference. For today, let's get started off with placing some orders. So we're going to get paid and pay. Go to our vendors. You'll also see these shortcuts that pop up, like new invoice and things like that. Again, takes you to the same spot. So sometimes it looks like there's all these other features, and they're not. They're really just shortcut links to features we're already working with. Get paid and pay, and then vendors, because we're going to do some purchase orders. And you should see this. So to get started and warmed up, let's do 4 purchase orders for vendors. Receive the items and pay the bills from your general checking. Now this time, remember, we added new accounts yesterday. So you can pay out of the savings account if you're not careful. We want to always pay it out of the checking. But when you go to pay the bill, you will see at the top, you now have a choice. Actually, we've always had a choice, but now we have other accounts we've created. So this one we go to purchase order? So you have to override the create bill here to go to create purchase order. And I'm just going to select a vendor to get started here. Pardon me? 4, yeah. 4 purchase orders. In fact, I'm going to write it out here. So in my case, I'm going to do all 4 purchase orders at once. Again, the way we're doing it, you don't have to. You could do a purchase order, receive the bill, pay the bill, and then do that 4 different times. So click on one of the vendors. And it should open up the vendor report. So I'm going to start with ABC Warehouse. And then up here under new transaction, do purchase order this way. Yeah, I don't know why yours is unique that way. And then on that, we just go back to where it says product services. Yeah, product and service, and then pick one, anyone. Since you're doing 4 and we only have a few items, I'm just going to start from the top. Oh, see, I'm down 5 in the teddy bear. Yes. Or in my case, I'm just going to do save and new. Because I said 4, I only have, 4 vendors. So I'll just pick the next vendor from here rather than go back. Yes, please. Yep. And when you look at your checking account, you should see 4 payments for today. And sad news, today is the last day our vendors are going to be perfect. Now they're going to start messing up. Of course. Well, when that starts happening, maybe it's time for a new vendor. And that's fair. Nobody says you have to stick with one vendor, even if they have the best price. I mentioned the county does bids and they don't always go with the lowest price. Sometimes they don't believe the lowest price. They think somebody is underbidding and it's going to cause problems. On the other hand, reputation makes a difference too. So sometimes I'll go with a higher price bid on justification that it's a firm they've done business with before, or they have a better reputation, they're more likely to get it done in time, that kind of thing. So I did mine as a batch. So I did one extra. Bonus. So you'll see up here, I did all the purchase orders first. And now I can just create the bills for each one of those. Right. On the vendors. So what I did, I just by habit, I clicked the 5 purchase order, or you might say 4, the blue box. And this shows me just the vendors with the purchase orders. Now I did general supply twice. So I'm just going to create bill from here. You don't have to. You can do it at this point too. The problem is it's hard. If you don't remember, it's hard to see who the purchase orders are for. So I'll add my purchase order, close their advertisement. Please do. So in my case, I did do 2 purchase orders. I did accidentally, but it could happen in real life. So in this case, you see them both here. So remember, I always told you could always do extra. So I'll go ahead and add them both. What did I order? Oh yeah. So this one was for the puppy leashes. This is for the fidget spinners. Now, if this is a general supply house, so they probably do have both of these things. Yeah, I just did. So I click add. See, they pop up here.
Even though they're different vendors?
No, it's the same vendor. That's the only reason it works. They're all from general supply house.
Oh, okay. There was some different vendors?
No, because remember, you're dealing with each vendor one at a time. If I'd made a mistake, so I used XYZ for the fidget spinners, but I wanted it to be here, and it was my typo, I can go back, and you can always edit the purchase order and change the vendor. So I'm going to click on here. Here's the purchase orders. So you can always edit it because I haven't received it yet. And then I'm here at the top, just switch over to the correct vendor. So that's just it, you know, it's typo. The thing is, let's see, by the time you're doing the bill, you probably would have caught it already. I mean, you would have done this change before you're receiving the bill. And the reason is when you get the bill, the paperwork, you know, it's not going to say, hey, this wasn't for us. It's going to be only that vendor's information. So, but you could still use that correction method to fix it. So I'll add the purchase order. This time just one. But in the flow of a company, you certainly could have multiple purchase orders coming at once. You know, the bills coming in with the products, especially if you're taking the terms of 30 days. We're basically doing it on receipt. But if you had 30 days in that month, you know, you could have 2 or 3 purchase orders coming in. Why not pay them all in one shot? So I add that one. And my last one.
It's pretty good to know.
Get used to it, right?
Yes.
That's why we practice it every day. It becomes second nature. You can do it without even thinking. And then I come along and I'm going to mess it up with the purchase orders not always being fulfilled. Actually, it's over and above what we've done. We're taking what we learned, we're going to advance it a little bit.
So when you do save and close, it goes to one list, and then when you save and new, it goes to another one?
Well, no, in this case, see, when I got all my when I did my last purchase order, this list and this blue bar shows 0. I'm in left. So I went over here to the bills. So now I can make payment. As I go through, each one of these is going to tick off, and then there'll only be one left, and then the list will be empty, and this will be 0 open bills. So, you know, with the boss's permission, if you wanted to do it this way, maybe as you just got started and say, I want these to be 0, because I feel comfortable when I get to see 0. You could pay them early. Unless the boss comes in, why are you paying all these bills so early? But then as you get used to it, I told you these numbers, these can stay open. As long as these 2 don't move over here, you're safe.
You can only move over if it's past the 30 days.
Yeah, past the terms, because you could do 15-day terms, you could do 5-day terms, you could do 60-day terms, and then in the old version of QuickBooks, they had, what was it, 180 days. I thought, who waits 180 days to get paid on every invoice? But maybe, yeah, that's true. But I would think at that point, you would have your,
Yeah, they can't even take a year to pay the last 10%.
well, that's what I was thinking. Then you could, but you would set it up to do installments or something. I don't know.
Yeah, well, the installments are 30 days, but technically it takes 3 months.
So they did take it off the list now. You can always add and customize the list, as I mentioned. But now it's due on receipt, 15 days, 30, 60.
I have to add 45.
Yeah.
for a customer.
Yeah, and I told you that's when you're negotiating with a customer. That's one of the things you can do is say, you know, they're going to say, well, I'm going to go down the street. They're cheaper. Yeah, but I can give you more terms, more days. Okay.
No, we're talking about customer, no.
Vendors. Yeah,
Oh,
you're the customer to the vendor,
oh.
but it works the same way with a customer too. Yeah, because
Customer can, yeah, we can try, but there's like, if you have a big contract, they will push it to get more time to get paid, for them to pay you. If you want it, so you want the job.
Yeah.
But that's all on the contract, right?
yeah,
Yes.
but when you set this up, like ABC Warehouse, so let's say I'm only doing this ABC Warehouse for this one particular contract. So I call up ABC Warehouse and say, you know, I could go to XYZ Wholesale and they got the same stuff. They're a little cheaper, but if you give me better terms, we'll stick with you. Yeah, I say, how you did? And then you can go to your customer. So they say, okay, we'll give you the 180 days. So great, I got 6 months. So I can go to the customer and then I can relax my terms on the customer because I'm not under such pressure to collect from the customer, to turn around and pay that vendor for stuff we're already using. So it works. If you keep those things in mind and be a good negotiator, you kind of balance one off the other. Yeah.
That's how it works.
Well, and then like I was just saying, just because you have 30 days, you don't have to take them. We haven't taken any 30 days. We're 30 minutes at best. So you could do that. And you can always pay it early. I have never heard anybody call up and say, you paid your bill early. I can't believe it. What do you think you're doing? I heard it the other way. You paid your bill 30 days late. We're dying over here. What are you doing? So early, everybody likes early. And then that's the other thing. If you, on your vendors, if you can negotiate longer terms, but you still pay it early, then they're even happier. They're like, wow, okay, good. All right, let's go to the chart of accounts. Oh, I meant to show you them. Okay, well, I could still do it. When I got busy talking, it said thinking. So I'm going to view the register of my checking. Here's my last payment. I'm going to go to edit. And this is the thing I wanted to watch out for. See, it says basic checking, but we also have petty cash and savings. You can pay it out of that. I have $44 in my savings, but that wouldn't make any sense. So luckily, one of the things QuickBooks is good about doing, it will repeat this account up here automatically. But if you remember when we first started, I said, always check it. And today, did I even check it? No, but I check it. I would have remembered to point this out, that now we've got more accounts to spend from. So easy to say, hard to do. I didn't change it. Okay. Now I didn't change a thing, right? Actually, I did. Let me go back. Yeah, because I did click this, but I went right back to it. Well, QuickBooks figures, well, that was a change. You changed, but you changed back in this transaction. Do you want to save the changes? I can say yes or no, it won't matter. Because I really didn't.
Because you paid something for your savings? Is that what you-
No, one of the quirks about QuickBooks, so watch, I'll save and close. So it's telling me, this is linked to others. You sure want to modify it? Well, what modifications did I do? The one thing I did, I was showing you, I could switch this to save. And then I didn't save it, right? I said, but we don't want to do that. I switched it back and now I'm trying to close it. But QuickBooks counts any change you make, even if you undo it, as a change. Better safe than sorry, I guess. So it's just warning me. And sometimes, like I'll do that with a Microsoft Word document. I'll open up one, like for reference. And then when I finish my other document, I go to close it and it says, did you want to save this? You've made a change. And I think, I was just looking at it. I didn't mean to make any changes. So you could say no, because you're confident. You don't want to override what you've already done. So I'm just going to hit the close button. And now it'll say, do you want to leave without saving? Yes. So just keep that in mind. If you know for sure you didn't mean to make a change, just close it without making the changes or without saving the changes. All right. So there we go. We spent some money today. Let's go back to get paid and pay. And let's go to our customers. Oh, one more thing here. Under products and services. If you ever want to, at this point, say for teddy bears, one of the things you can do is when you click on here, I could tell you this now because you're so advanced. See those 4 items? I need to reorder those. You've always got this reorder here. So if you want to do them as a group, you can.
Where did you go to?
I went to the item products and services. The only thing is, see, it puts it on one purchase order. And then you have to know the vendor. So here's the products and services. Turn these all off. Okay. So we've been creating the purchase order from the vendor side, right? But you can also do it from the item. So this time I'm just gonna do the dog leashes. You could do multiple or you can do a single. But as soon as I put a check mark here on the left side, on the right side, I now get batch actions. And batch actions is a tongue twister, but it also means do them all at once. Clear these out.
So we can click on it? Oh,
Yeah, so you click batch actions, reorder. It brings up a purchase order just like we did before. The only difference is what's missing? Vendor, because it filled in the item for us down here, dog leashes, but it doesn't know which vendor I want. So now it's kind of the opposite. You know, the way we did it before, we knew the vendor, we had to pick the product down below. Well, now you just pick the vendor you want to order from and do it this way.
you want us to do one?
No.
No? Oh. 'Cause I just realized that I was allowed on the stats.
Oh, by all, if you would like to do one, please feel free. The thing is, I'm trying to show you the options, but at the same time, I don't want to clog your memory with, okay, where was that? You know, kind of thing. So if you can use it, by all means, you know, right, practice it.
But that's good to know, though.
Yeah, I like it because it's one thing if you know your vendors and your products really well, but if you have a whole catalog of products, sometimes you can forget which vendor do I use for that one. So if you go here, you can make sure that you start. And then there's another shortcut we'll get into in the advanced class where you can make it all automatic. You can basically link your product to your vendor, and then with one click like this, it brings up the vendor too. It's called the preferred vendor. So you can do that as well. So not to confuse the issue, but this is just another way to get to it. If it is confusing, forget what I just said and stick with products and service and go to vendors. I mean, if you want to do a purchase order, this always works. But now let's do something else. Let's go into invoices. So this invoice report will show us all the invoices, but only the invoices. Remember yesterday, we started doing sales receipts. Sales receipts, even though they're dealing with customers, and it sounds like, oh, it's just a short invoice, they're really two different systems in the computer as far as the computer's concerned. And it's because of that lag time to get paid, the terms, right? So that's the accounts receivable system. It makes a super huge difference when you're doing the accrual method of accounting, where as soon as they place an order and you send them the invoice, the computer under the accrual method will count that as essentially money you've earned, even though you haven't received it yet. So here you can tell that. So of course, companies prefer the sales receipts.
Those receipts are the ones that were copies.
Yeah. The technically on, if you order from Amazon, Amazon doesn't have a 30-day, pay us in 30 days. So you're basically doing a sales receipt because you can't get your product until you give them the credit card number. Well, on Amazon's accounts, it immediately goes in there, comes out of your credit card, and I mean within seconds. So that's a sales receipt, even though that you didn't walk into an Amazon store. So online purchases done by credit cards do count as sales receipts. That's why I like those better too. Yeah, right. Well, and can you blame them? Yeah, you just don't know what's going to happen, and crazy stuff happens all the time. All right, so let's go ahead and do some invoices. So we'll do 4 invoices.
Okay, so.
Go in customers.
Invoices looks like this.
Okay, if you're in invoices, I hope this doesn't confuse everybody because here we go again. There's a second way to do invoices. Just create invoice here. You can click that. The difference though, as you'll see, it doesn't put any customer up there and no products. So you could do it this way, but you have to remember, I got to pick a customer. soon as I pick the customer, this is the way we've been doing it. We went to customers, selected the customer, and create invoice. And that's usually, if you're creating the invoice, that's usually what drives it. Mary calls me up, I want to buy stuff. Okay, I'll be right over, whatever. So I'll put her name in here, click it, create invoice, and it'll generate an invoice with her name on it automatically. So pick a product. Now I got lots of stuff.
So do we do it by create invoice or where do?
You choose.
Or by customer?
Um,
What do we do?
do it by customer.
Okay.
Just to, that's the way we've been doing it.
We added funding.
Yes, tell it how many you want to buy. So I'm gonna go to customers, go to Mary, create invoice.
Then we go to the next one.
And we'll do 4. Okay. Aha, did it again. Remember I said it doesn't always update? Look, it tells me I'm down -5. Well, I just reordered them and received them. So I'm gonna hit my refresh button in the upper left-hand corner here. Are you getting the same problem? Yeah, and I don't understand why they haven't fixed that, because that to me, that's huge. I guess they have fixed it. They say, hit refresh. It's like, come on, I'm paying you for the software. Least you could do is fix that little problem. So if you ever doubt it, hit refresh first. You know, there are some news sites, because they're paid by clicks, and they can charge advertising by clicks. And while you're watching it, you'll see it automatically refresh itself. And it's like, okay, see the technology's there, QuickBooks. Why don't you just do that? So now it's showing up with the quantities I ordered. I now have 18 to sell, which is correct. So now we're making 4 invoices and receive payments to checking. So once again, when you receive these payments, you'll have the opportunities to select savings. Please don't do that. We're going to stick with our checking account. And we're talking about how much businesses prefer getting paid quickly. Look up here. Another ad by QuickBooks, how they can help you get paid quicker.
Where did you point to? Oh, that little tip?
Yeah, where it says tip. It is. I shouldn't disparage their tips. It is a tip. It is convenience. It's also an advertisement. Sign up for QuickBooks Payments. And that's the one that as I create this invoice, if I save and send, it would put a payment link to it. So my customer gets it by email and says, oh, there's the link, click on it and pay it. Now, that sounds great, but my cynical mind says, so some hacker decides to come up with a very similar email. That could be bad. If you know who it's coming from and you expect it, it's less likely to be a scam. I got one this morning. I won, what was it? Oh, Yeti thermos, or Yeti huge cooler from Walmart. Didn't even know I was entered. And it wasn't, it was a scam. Click here. And then I have all kinds of orders. It says we have a UPS, our USPS has your order. Click here to retrieve it before it gets returned. The guy know that's So I'm doing all my invoices first.
You want us to receive the
Please. Yep. Gotta get paid. So I have 4 open invoices. I click on that little box and there they are. So receive payment. Now, because I'm paying attention to what I'm doing, I can see that I have the option here, deposit to. See, I could put petty cash and QuickBooks would find that just perfectly acceptable. So I'm gonna check, make sure it's basic checking all the time. The reason I say always keep checking it is because there will be an exception. Somebody will come along for some reason and it needs to go to another account. And what's happened is you've learned this screen, okay, customer, payment, good, click. And you forget to look at this because it defaults every time. It remembers what you did last time. Problem is if I change it for one person, we're done for the day. Next day I come in, I start up again. If I'm not paying attention, 9 times out of 10, that's going to be switched. And then it'll be coming out of the wrong account all day until I switch it back and then it remembers that. So it always remembers what you did last time here. Yeah, well, watch. So I'm gonna show you how to do it.
About, you know, if you've been,
To turn it off.
depositing it to that other account, is there a way to switch it?
Sure, I'm gonna-
All the, everything.
I'm going to do it right now. Let's show you the worst case scenario. So for some reason, her payment's going to go straight to my savings account. I'm going to say that's a mistake. And I was drinking my coffee and when I moved, I accidentally turned and clicked something. Okay, so now that was Mary. Close that. So I go to Roger, receive payment. Watch what happens. Ta-da! Look at it. It says savings. So, you know, even if you do it by accident, now QuickBooks thinks that's correct. Told you it's not very bright. So I have to re-select this to the checking. And now I can make up a check number. And I'll save and close. And now next time I come back, it'll be back to checking.
So nothing's gonna be applied up to the savings account?
What's going to happen? What's happening is, remember, this is not live. I am just reporting to QuickBooks what happened in the real world. I just misreported. I lied to QuickBooks. Instead of going to my checking account, I told it went to savings. So QuickBooks says, okay, fine. It's a bank account. You can do it.
Well, if you were
Show
doing it-
up.
Well, yes, it will.
Then you make-
Let me finish this.
That's what I was.
So I first wanted to show you, went back to default. Now in this one, it'll be back to defaulted to the checking. Because it always remembers the last thing you used. You know, what's funny is when they started this, it was the one you use mostly. Meaning if I switched it once, then the next time, if I want to go back to savings, I have to switch it again. And if you do it like 4 or 5 times in a row, then it will default to that. But that's one of the changes they made. It's probably for the best because most transactions are very similar to each other. So see, it did come back, basic checking, save and close. All right, let's go to my check register and somebody's missing. So I go to my chart of accounts. View register. Here's my accounts receivable deposits. I only have 3, but I did 4. Well, I go back to my accounts. There's my savings. Oh, look, it came up. It's a little higher than it was before. That's suspicious. I view the register. There's her payment. Okay. So I'm going to edit it. If you do make this mistake, you can fix it. Okay, come back here. It says savings, basic checking. Save and close. It's going to give me a hassle. So this is linked to others. Are you sure you want to do it? Well, yes, because I said this was my misclick, right? So I know I want to change it. And now it's gone. Here in savings, I go back to my checking account. Look at my checking register. And that was Mary, and here she is. So you can always do that. You can always go back into one that's mixed, labeled, and fix it, and then come back. Again, go ahead.
through edit.
Yeah, always edit. For any check except payroll. If you ever do that with payroll, you have to basically go to payroll, undo it, and then redo it correctly. Payroll is the only one that's a little goofy that way. But everything else, and then it will warn you. And if this were a transaction I did over 30 days ago, yeah, I think it's 30. Is it 30 or quarterly? Anyway, it'll warn you. This one's been here for a long time. Are you sure you want to change it? So you get the first, are you sure you want to change it? And you say yes. And then it says, are you really, really, really sure you want to change it? And you say yes. If you know what you're doing, yes, that's supposed to be changed. Then it'll switch it over here. So it could have, this transaction could sit in my savings. What'll happen is at the end of the month when I do my reconciliation, right? And going through and checking each one, it's like, oh, well, here's in my checking account in the bank. It says they got Mary's. How come I don't see hers here? And then I go, oh, I see what happened. She got put into savings. So again, this is not controlling your bank accounts. This is reflecting your accounts, and your bank account should reflect this. If that makes sense. Okay, let's go back to get paid and pay and customers. And let's do 4 sales receipts directly to the checking account. So this time when I create sales receipt, once again, there's my basic checking down here at the bottom. So it's already remembering what I did before, but I could have the same issue here and you fix it the exact same way in case you accidentally do it to the wrong account.
Save and close, right?
Or you can do save and new if you can remember who you did or you want to do. But yes, we've been doing save and close. So just to do it, I did save and new. The difference again is you have to select the customer manually. It won't bring it over. Okay, and when you're done with that, you should be able to go to your check register and the chart of accounts. And I missed one. I look at 3.
I want to go back to one of my sales receipts. How do I go back to that one?
Okay, couple ways. If you're in customers, just click on the customer. If you can remember the customer, click it here. See the top item is the last thing I did with her, sales receipt. And you can always click on the word sales receipt. And it'll pop it up.
I just want to make sure.
Reverse check.
Watch tax.
Oh, good. Speaking of the sales receipt, you'll notice when we were working with the other documents, there's always those little blue small print links that says this is linked to a payment. This is linked to a purchase order. You won't see that with sales receipts. Sales receipts are completely self-contained because the payment's all right here. There's no separate payment to link to. The other way to see your sales receipts is go to your checking account. And then view the register. And here's the one I was looking at, and I can always edit.
Bank register.
You always start off with the cog in the upper right-hand corner here, and then chart of accounts.
Chart of account.
Yeah, oh, I can't do it now because I'm in the chart of accounts, but let me go back here.
But if it's
Yeah. Okay, so you go to chart of accounts. And this is all of our bank accounts, including ones we set up yesterday. And then you should see the basic checking. Got 9,156.59, and I view register. It's like that. And if I did it correctly, if I sent them to this account, I should see my 4 sales receipts. Sales of product income, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you do need to make a change or you just want to double check, you can click at this point and edit.
One of my payments says accounts receivable, just says payment.
Okay. If you didn't,
Well, because it was a check. But it was.
you'll say payment in this column, a reference number and type, and then accounts receivable as the account. So you do want to see the word payment.
So it was a check then?
Yeah.
Oh. That's the other.
Yeah, and that's,
Okay.
although usually if it's accounts receivable, there's some kind of payment instrument, usually not cash. But they could, hey, I got your invoice. I was in the neighborhood. Here it is. I'm going to pay you cash. All right, so now we're all cut up. It's 6:53. It's break time. When we come back from break at 7:03, we're going to run into the vendors who can't fulfill their purchase orders.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we've done so many purchase orders. So now we make a change, it won't be such a shock.
So do I need to take out?
We'll see. Actually,
I probably should.
as we do it, it makes a lot of sense. Because once again, you're just following what really happened in the real world.
Yes, bills, short, back order items to receive what Either leave it open until they ship it or just close it.
That's what we're gonna do next? Okay.
Or how many years have you done?
For me, no, 16. Almost 17.
When I started doing something like that, it was a reference. But it's. I didn't stop, it changed.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because now it's just like, write the PO number or item numbers or things like that, but now. Reference on the, yeah, kind of menus, payments, everything.
oh,
In
the
it.
purchase orders have PO number, order number, vendor, the ship date, estimated arrival, memo, quantity, products, everything. And then I used to do the receiving of the purchase orders, and not every time was complete.
Yeah.
Items were back ordered and they were shipping like a week later, so you have to receive only what came in and leave the PO open.
Yeah.
That one, it took a while to learn that part.
But now it's like, but I want, like you said, once we have the practice,
Mhm.
it's easier, it'll become easier. Right now, it's like,
Well,
change from here to there. Go from here to there.
Well, I know that I was very close-minded about bookkeeping and all that. I did not want to do it. I didn't want to do it. And I actually enjoy it, you know, so.
Right on.
Yeah, but like you said, once you start.
Yeah, no.
putting
And
your
even my
hours-
husband told me today, when are you gonna stop going to school? And I said, I'm not. I said, this is a semester thing. This is not a 3-week thing. So, because I babysit, that's why I was late today, because I babysit Wednesdays and Thursdays, and my granddaughter saw me read my book bag and is like, where are we going? We are not going anywhere. Grandma is. But no, I do. I really appreciate. I really do this class. You know?
One of my granddaughter's favorite toys is her cash register. So already she's starting to do bookkeeping. She goes and steals all the Monopoly money and puts in a cash register.
When she gets it.
I tell her, no, you got to balance your cash drawer.
How old is she?
4.
4.
It's gonna be 5 in March.
And then the other ones are playing with you know, like when they have those cook, like a cook.
Kitchen and all that.
Uh-huh. Oh, she's got a kitchen too. She made me a Play-Doh restaurateur. Yeah, she'll own a restaurant.
We have to have knowledge of a little bit of everything.
Everything. Oh, yeah. I love it when you learn something new. It's like your brain comes back to like.
So see, I was child development for 35 years until I was displaced. I lost my position because I didn't qualify for the position, and they let us know a semester before. So there's no way that I could take those extra classes the semester before. So I thought, my husband says, it's okay. We're starting a business. You can be the bookkeeper, the accountant. And I'm like, you know, because I didn't know anything about it. But, and I tried this class in September, but we were on a trip. So I was
Oh,
trying
yeah.
to do it on my cell phone,
Yeah,
you know, and
That's
there's
hard.
no way. So,
there is, as I mentioned when we started, there is the QuickBooks app. So you can do some things. Even like an invoice, it's pretty easy to do on the phone.
on the phone, because I do have it.
Yeah.
But I haven't opened it.
But little things like that, I would.
think I set it up.
It's like opening with your invoices and all that, I can get in practice. I can help you. Well, just give me some invoices and then, okay, do that and do this and that. Yeah, in practice.
You can also run on a tablet if you get a tablet. Tablets are a little better because they're bigger screens.
One thing I haven't tried is QuickBooks compatible with Apple.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, it takes a while. If you
Oh.
haven't opened it,
Oh, wow.
it takes a little while
Okay.
to kind of like load and everything.
I guess either, but it's-
And for you, Mr. Yeah, how many years?
25?
45?
25.
Oh,
Yeah.
25.
Yeah, no, you never, you sound very, very knowledgeable.
This
You have a
is
lot
my
of hard
first
experience.
time that I've done all this, and it's kind of like, it's starting to look like-
When I joke about accidentally clicking on something when you're drinking your coffee, it's because I've done that. You know, little stupid things like that. And then, but you don't know that you did it. So when you go try to find out what happened, you got to be a detective to go back and find it.
I did the concept one time and checked. And it's at the statement of banking. Like, hey, reconciling, this is the reconciliation. And and they're like, this check, it's on the other account. Because we had, a lot of companies have the checking, the regular checking and the payroll separate account. So I deposited on the payroll account. So I had to do another check to deposit from the payroll to the regular, yeah.
And then they return the one from the one you did.
No.
It's the same.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
It's like a transfer.
Oh,
Like we did
transfer.
Yeah, so because it's the same company,
Oh,
it's
okay.
just, yeah. The way they managed it, though, it was two companies in one.
Oh, yeah.
One was construction, the other one was industries. Industries purchased all the material for the construction side. Wow, it was fun, but I started accounts payable there only. But it was then recession hit in
Mhm.
2007, and I didn't have a lot of work. So then I started going to the warehouse to look at the material. That's how I learned how to do all the receiving. And then that's how I got chosen at every year end to do all the big, account with all the inventory we had and stuff. That was not fun. It's a lot. I remember going in a t-shirt and a tennis shoes because it's so dirty in there in the warehouse. Yeah, and then I got to help with accounts payable and then purchase orders. Even they had a system like to ship out the material to the job site on time. So I had to learn what we ship and what stayed in the warehouse. So it was like a purchase order, but it was a different kind of deal.
I
Shipping it
used
to
to
the
like doing that, but I worked in a warehouse where they used to make popcorn balls. Caramel and,
Yeah.
the original, yeah, the caramel cheese and.
Just a regular.
The regular one. So they would make the cans from, the material would come in, that's what I would be receiving,
Like the buckets and stuff.
but it was more likely it's the template, the whole thing, I mean, they would run it through those machines, and then they would make the can, the
Oh.
container, the tin, and then the lid.
From scratch.
From scratch, so I would receive all that from the truck drivers, from the trucks, and then after that, you get the field logs and invoice number and all those things. And they go where by the lines where all the people are working on and then getting all that into outlets and then putting them where they have to be placed at. And so, yeah, I was doing also, like what you say, inventory, accounting, and I used to love it. I was a-
And you get to learn all the workings of how
That was in Chicago.
we get our stuff.
Well, yeah, that's what I like. I got to learn everything.
Oh, yeah.
So at some point, it's good and it's bad. Because when something happens, if they have to cut down people, you know how to do a lot of the stuff. But
You're
at the
gonna
same
get more work.
time, I got slammed with work.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, my bosses will be like, okay, you're in charge, and they will take off.
Mhm.
Wow.
Great.
Smart.
So you would take on jobs of the people that they let go.
Well, I was IT for everybody. Like, something's wrong with my computer. Can you come look? We have an IT department, we don't want to call them. So I will have to go and help them with it. I did everything.
See, my dad was in the Air Force and he said, if you don't want to do a job, mess it up. So when you go back, when they said, can you help with my computer, you should have messed it up worse. And then they never ask you again.
I know, right? My way. I was a problem solver, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Just tell them, turn it off, turn it back on and call me. If you still got a problem, I'll come look.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to our vendors. Now we're gonna go to our vendors. And I said, our vendors, customers, are going to all of a sudden not be perfect. And it's not their fault. Nobody's perfect. So we've been making purchase orders and our vendors have given us everything we asked for. But now comes the shortages. So we're going to create a purchase order from any vendor, just like we have before. So pick any vendor, create purchase order. This time, pick 2 items. So I'm going to do the teddy bear. And I'm going to order,
2 items on the same ticket.
yeah, 2 items. So we're going to have one at the top and one at the bottom here. So I've got teddy bear and desktop fan. And I'll just do 3 of each. Okay, save and close. So far, so good. So we've got one open purchase order. I'll click on that. There it is. Now, my contact from ABC Warehouse calls up and says, hey, I've got this purchase order. Sorry, we're out of teddy bears. But I'm looking at my purchase orders and they should be in a month. So what do you want to do? And I'll say, okay, just send me the other stuff and I'll wait on the purchase order, right? So I agree to wait. So he does, and he sends me the bill. So I'm going to create bill. And this is exactly like we did before. I'm going to click add. But remember, I said no teddy bears. So even though they're on the purchase order and I didn't get them, they still show up here, right? Well, that's okay. Because now when I did my purchase order, I told it the quantity I wanted to order. I wanted 3 of each. Well, I got the fans, but no teddy bears. So I'm telling the computer now, I got the fans, the 3's fine on the fans, but on the teddy bears, I got 0. Yeah, any field that has a box like that, you can change. You don't always want to, but you can change it. So in this case, I need to. So you'll notice the amount is zeroed out, and then the total here has been adjusted to only show that we owe the desktop fans. Now the way, I just clicked on the 3 and changed it to a 0. Yeah, that's all we're gonna do. So it was 3. I go, no, I didn't get them. I'm gonna say 0. Okay. So that's it. So you're really just saying, all right, this is what we got. Here's what we didn't get. Save and close. Now watch what happens. Now we've got the open bill like we had before. I've got one open bill, but I still have one purchase order. So the way purchase orders work is they're all or nothing. If you don't get everything, then it's still going to show as outstanding unless you cancel it. And that's another scenario. Yeah, one open purchase order. And if I click on it down here, because I've still got my vendor up, you'll see it's now split. And the purchase order now shows the desktop fans is closed. Why? Because I ordered 3, I got 3, done. The one I'm still waiting on is the teddy bear. So that's why it's still open. If the purchase order is open for my teddy bears, then it's still open and stays open till they either resend them or I manually close it and give up.
It didn't reflect the amount. It stayed the same. Your purchase order?
Yes, because I ordered 3 and he said he's going to send them. I'm assuming he's sending me 3, right? Now, he's going.
When it actually prints, are you going to have 2 separate invoices with the same, not invoices, but are you going to have the same 2 separate purchase orders with the same
No.
purchase order number?
There'll be 2 documents probably, because you'll probably send me a copy of the other one. But they'll still have the same number. And that's why that number is so important, because that links them together if they're split amongst other ones. Now you notice I said 30 days, he's going to send me the teddy bear. I happen to do it outside my terms because by my agreement, since I got the fans, I got to pay the fans in 30 days. It's not like, well, but you didn't send me the bearer, so I'm going to wait on all the payment. I guess I could, but probably just make the vendor mad. But technically, under the terms, it's one I need to pay. So in 30 days, if I don't pay this $14 for the fans, it's going to go into overdue, right? So that's no problem. I can make a payment.
So on my thing, it says schedule payment on the.
Yeah. Use the pick list.
That's what I've received, right?
Says that. Schedule payments. Use the pick list here. This little triangle. So otherwise, we're going to do the bill just like we've done before. Click on the bill and make payment. So it's only half. The payment makes no reference to the outstanding purchase order because it has nothing to do with the purchase order. This was a deal to buy those fans. So it's only the fans, and I'm going to save and close. So it's paid. And you'll see here in my list, all my balances are 0, but I still have that one purchase order hanging out there, waiting. Let's go ahead. 30 days are up. Let's pretend. So got the bears. I'm going to just create the bill. Oh, before I do that, let's take a look at the one open purchase order here. So I click on one open purchase order. It shows my vendor. The most recent transactions were the bill I just paid for the fans and the bill I received for the fans. And then before that, there's my purchase order. So I want to view and edit the purchase order. The other thing you'll see up here is this little control, the word open, right under the word ABC Warehouse for vendor. So this tells you the current status is open. We'll get into this later on, but if I wanted to, I can actually close it from here and saying I'm never going to get the purchase order. So I can manually close it. So there's a couple of ways to do that.
Otherwise, if you want to, you get the quantity we we're just going to edit the purchase order.
No, we're going to do it the regular way. I just wanted to look at this first. So if it were a mistake, you could change it here, but it's not, right? This is just an oopsie of life. So I'm going to close this. I just wanted to look at it, see that half of it's closed and half isn't. So I go back to my vendors. We can use the open purchase order and create bill. Now, even though I did this before, I have to do it again because I still have half that purchase order there. I have to click add. But when it adds, it's only going to add the outstanding items, meaning the 3 teddy bears. Okay. So we process this just like normal. However, the vendor, when they packed them, maybe only packed 2. So what happened is I can change it to 2. Then that 1 stays open. Then when they send the 1, I got to do this all over again. So see how that works? So they don't have to send them all at once, as long as we're both in agreement that that's okay. I mean, they should do that. Usually they don't. Usually they just send, then you got to call up and say, what's up? Oh, sorry, yeah, but whatever. And like, come on, just send an email, a text, anything, something simple so I know I don't have to call you. Anyway, I am going to receive them all this time. But a purchase order, you can start with a large purchase order, and then especially when we have the supply chain issues, it just gets smaller and smaller and smaller as things come in. Because I want everything I can get as soon as possible. If I didn't want it, I wouldn't be ordering in the first place. Okay. So now I have one open bill. Make a payment. And save and close. So it's everything we've been doing. It just drags out by items over time. And this does happen pretty regularly. But, you know, let's say all your vendors are good except for ABC Warehouse, and this starts happening with ABC Warehouse, and, you know, it might be time to look for another vendor. Over the summer, we started a drone soccer program for Medicine Junior College, and it was for kids, and they actually play soccer with drones. It's fascinating, but they, well, real quick, they use racing drones. There's a plastic shell that goes around them. They're played in an arena, and in the arena, there's 2 big loops. There's 4 drones on each team. Only one on each team can be a scorer, and the goal is for that scorer to fly its drone through the other team's goal. The other drones can block for them, can push other drones out of the way to make room for it to go through, and they're using the controllers, and they're outside of this arena, so it's safe. Oh, the kids love it. So I just wanted to do a drone class, and I was teaching it. Oh, it was a disaster. No, that wasn't a disaster. It was a hassle because, so giving you probably too much detail here. So we were talking about, they said, what kind of classes would you like to do? I said, well, I always want to do a drone class, but the lawyers always torpedo it. And she said, yeah, they don't really do that, so we can't do drones. I said, but you know, they do run them in the gyms, and you could also tether it because they're always afraid of the drones flying on the roof somewhere. So I said, you could tether it. It's not the best idea, but it'll work. She said, well, look into it and send me stuff. So as I'm doing this and I call the drone manufacturers, he said, oh yeah, we got all these things, and they're doing drone soccer. I said, what's drone soccer? And he showed me the video. I said, oh, that's cool. So trying to be like Mr. Smarty Pants, like I know everything. When I call her back, I happened to mention drone soccer, and she did the same thing I did. Drone soccer, what's that? So I asked, oh, let me show you all the information. It's great. So she calls me back up. Okay, we're going to drone soccer. Can you be here for the training? I'm like, what? Okay, I just wanted to do drones. So we had to, it was a crash course. The kids have to assemble them, so we had to learn how to assemble them. And that's part of it. And then they do break, the propellers break off all the time, so they got to learn to repair them. So it's really interesting. Anyway, the reason I brought it up is, remember, this was a rush to get this because the class is coming within 2 weeks. So she'd placed the order, but the batteries came from way across the country from the vendor. This was a Drone Soccer International. So they can't fly by airplane because they're batteries. And they were 2 boxes of packed batteries. They don't want them to explode. Well, I guess they have to ship them. So then they could go by truck. So what she did is, they were still on order. She had her purchase order open with them, but we needed them sooner. So she went to Amazon, found a place that had them locally, got them shipped. So she did a second purchase order. So that's what you do. You switch your vendors to one who can fill this emergency. They came in time, we got them flying. It was fun. Kids loved it. And then, I never expect to happen, the kids got bored. Really short attention spans. Junior high. So we started, hey, that's fine. Okay, great. You're bored. We're going to turn off the lights. And we put those glow sticks on the drone, so they flew in the dark, and that was kind of, I guess so. Because it was like a video game, but it was live. And once they mastered it, and we only had a week, so there wasn't a lot we could do. But to me, I mean, just to be able to fly them, I thought was fun. So in that case, you had to switch vendors. Now, she still got the original order in and paid for it, and then we have double the batteries. But hey, the batteries do wear out, and they sometimes they explode. So you do need a lot of replacements. So it worked out. But that's an instance where you need to swap vendors immediately. And so if ABC Warehouse is dropping the ball consistently and it's causing me a lot of headaches, I just might find somebody who might be a little more expensive. Yeah, time to switch. So everybody see how we did that? Okay, so let's practice that. Let's do 3 purchase orders. Select 2 items to buy, but only receive one of the items the first time. Yes. Yes, 2 items on each purchase order, just because it's kind of easier to see them come in one at a time. And then we're going to receive 1 item on each PO. Pay the bills. Then go back and receive the final items. So when you're done, your vendors should have balances of 0 and your purchase orders should all be closed. I remember doing this without the use of the computer. And I used to have a tickler file, and it was basically an accordion folder, but it had the day of each, or a number of each day. And then I had to put a little note in there to call and make sure we got the purchase order and check on it.
When we're done with the purchase order, we can create them or?
You can. You could do one, then create bills, but just make sure you don't receive everything, because we're only going to receive the one.
All three of them?
Yes. Just to practice doing that.
But then when you create the bill, you go to like it's just 0 balance, right?
The first time when you add it, you're going to turn whatever number you had to 0 on one of the items, but leave the other one alone because we'll receive that in full. Okay, good. Okay, once you have the bills, you can pay them. Mhm.
And then back then, when they used to do that, and shipping and receiving from that company, I mean, it was so.
Yep.
Like, but now it's all with this. It's easier for me, but still.
Well, it used to be more people doing it,
Yeah.
and then now you only really need one person. And someday you won't even need the person.
Probably the computer by itself. And then they'll be asking, is it a company?
Well, as you've seen how you can set up the automated activities. If you set up an automatic purchase order for a vendor, an automatic bill to follow, and did it by electronic transactions, then they did an automatic invoice for you, and you could do an automatic payment by a credit card or something. Nobody would have to show up until something went wrong. And that's what happens. Something always goes wrong. Okay, so here's mine. I'm going to change the quantity here to 0. There's a story about the Industrial Revolution, and they said eventually they had one super machine that could manufacture everything. Nobody had to do anything. You just pour like dough in the one end, and out came the bread all baked, packaged, and ready to go. So no people. So they said, although we did hire one man and one dog. They said, yeah. They said, why? One man? Yeah, one man to fix the machine in case it breaks. And the dog to make sure the man doesn't touch the machine. So that's what will be with computers. It'll be a robot dog.
Like that, with the dog that it's a what is it called? That they made it out of robot.
Is it like a kid's movie?
Yeah, no, it's in a dog. It's in a dog.
Well, but these are my.
Okay, so these are the ones I'm paying half.
Did you say to pay them?
No. Now we're all compressed too, though. Remember, this is you with this particular vendor, 3 vendors, you're dealing with them, but then you have other stuff going on too. And then this goes after 10 days, 5 days. And then next time we're gonna,
Yeah, but they're still gonna, as long as you keep them open.
yeah, they'll always show up there.
Hey, you know, we do have them. for the shoot.
Right. Yeah. You're right. It is easy. So let's make it harder.
No, it's okay. Next week. Give me this.
What if the vendor can't fulfill it? Like, I would send you those teddy bears, but the ship sank and we're not going to get any more. Now, what do you do?
Would stuck at the port or something.
Yeah.
No, switch.
So he didn't want us to put them in.
Yeah. Go ahead and do the others that are remaining. So see, now I only have 1 item. And remember, you know, I could have ordered 1,000 of each of my items and everyone came in except on this puppy leash. Well, I only got 999 of the 1,000. Well, to the computer, that's still open. And so then I have to decide, do I want to keep it or wait for it or just give up? Remember, we had that big supply chain during COVID, those issues, and all those ships out at sea. So I went to Michael's Craft Supply and it was in July and they had a big sale on Halloween stuff. All the stuff they'd ordered from Halloween had been sitting out there in the harbor. Finally came in July. They had no place to put it. So they had this big sale to try to get rid of it all before the next Halloween. Michael's, yeah. I said, how come you guys have all your Halloween stuff out? She said, it just came in. Yeah, there was clearance. Because they'd ordered it for the Halloween before, but it didn't get here. It was stuck out in the ocean or wherever. And so it still came through, just, what is that, 7 months later? Yes.
For the next Halloween.
Well, that's what I thought, but I guess they didn't have room to store it all. Because between July and Christmas, there's another Halloween, but you also have Thanksgiving stuff starts coming in. And even Christmas stuff now comes in
Oh,
in
Christmas
August.
It's not even Thanksgiving and the Christmas stuff. It's
Right.
already out in Costco and everywhere.
So where do you put it?
Yeah.
And then, you know how this stuff works, is you have to place your order way ahead. So they'd already ordered stuff again for this Halloween, not knowing that the original stuff was coming in. And besides, every year their Halloween stuff changes. So they got to have the latest and greatest.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a mess. I felt sorry for them, but I still bought some stuff and we used it this last Halloween. The grandkids made scarecrows for the fair. That was fun. Yeah, we just took the pumpkins, put little poked eyes into them and everything. They were this foam pumpkins.
How many grandkids do you have?
2, but it seems like 4.
Imagine these grandparents that have more than 12, 17, 20 grandkids.
Yeah. All right, so all my balances are 0 up here, except for that paid in the last 28 days. And all my purchase orders have been complete. You'll notice though, when I go into my checking, go to the chart of accounts, look at my check register. The way I did it, basically there's 2 checks for each purchase order. See all these checks? So I went to the chart of accounts up here, and then you'll see the checking account, and then it says view register over here.
How does he get to the vendor?
So to scroll down, there's all the accounts payable. Now, again, this is how we just did this scenario. The other scenario could happen that if I'm waiting the 30 days to pay the first bill, Then the other stuff comes in, right? I receive the bill again. When I cut the check close to the end of the 30 days, it might have both of them on there. That's fine too. Save you a piece of paper if you're sending out paper checks. So the payments can be combined, and the computer will try to do that for you. So nothing wrong with that. I like it better rather than trying to do it twice. But we were just trying to practice the scenario where they would never be combined. So any questions on that? Good. All right. So now let's get to the point where the vendor says they only shipped some, but now they can't do the rest. So we have to manually close it. So create a purchase order just like we did before. And then we'll do it with 2 different items, just like we just did.
So to go back to the purchase order, to the other one, when you walk through the bank register.
After the bank register, you can just click on the left-hand side here, get paid and pay. You can, yeah, you'll see vendors down here. And then create purchase order.
It's just one item, right?
Do 2. It could be 1 item, so we could order 10 of the item and only 5 come in. You could do that, but just visually, I'm trying to show the separation there. So it makes it a little bit clearer, I think, to show I'll do 5 of these and 5 of those. Yes, just 1. 2 items on 1 purchase order, just like this. And they can be any items. So this is just like normal. I save and close. Send it to the vendor. Okay, vendor calls up, says, got your purchase order. However, I can only send you the spinners. Okay, go ahead and do that. So they do. But I'll be sending the rest later. So I create bill like we just did. And we'll click on add. And this part is just like we just did. I'm going to take out the fans and turn that to 0. And this would also be true if you just sent me 1, because I ordered 5. Maybe they found 1 they didn't realize they had, but I'm going to say 0. Again, just keeps it cleaner. Okay, save and close. Yeah, go ahead and pay the bill. Create bill. Now we're going to create the bill, like here. So if you click on open bill, there it is. Make the payment. So we're paying off half the purchase order, just like we just did before. Right. And you'll see, I still have, it says here, 1 purchase order. Okay, so that's just like we just did. So I wait and wait and wait and wait. Then I get the call. Oh, guess what? I can't send you the rest. So what do you want to do? I'll say, okay, just cancel the rest of the purchase order and don't worry about it. I won't tell them, but I'm going to go somewhere else. Okay, so I go to the 1 open purchase order here for ABC Warehouse. I have to look down transactions because I did already pay his bill for the things they sent. I recorded the bill, so I have to go here to the purchase order. And here it is. So I got the fidget spinners. It's the fans that didn't come in. So I can see I ordered 5, got 0. Ordered 5, got 5. The computer automatically put a check mark here. This line is closed, but the whole purchase order is still open at the top. So the lines close as they are fully completed. See how that still says open? So I'm going to say they're never coming in from this vendor. I want to manually close it. So all I got to do is under the close box here, click on it, put a little green check mark, and I'm basically saying I'm not going to receive these. So in this case, just for good practice, I would put a little memo down here. Vendor canceled the fans. Or whatever they said. And again, try to use their wording as best as possible, just in case this becomes a problem in your company. Okay, save and close. It's going to remind me, this transaction is linked to others because on some of these items, I did get a bill and I paid it. That's okay. Yes, I want to modify because what I'm doing won't change those transactions at all. It's just going to change that purchase order. I go back to my vendors. And now, because I closed it, it says $0 and purchase orders are outstanding. Okay, we'll go, that's okay. We'll go back because I'm going to go back to it anyway right now. Okay, I'm on the purchase order here. Okay. It looked like this. So when I open it, it looked like this. Yeah. So I'm going to manually put the check mark here and say closed. So I click there and that's it. Save and close. Yeah. Yeah. Now I said, so look, I put a little memo down here. Yeah. You don't have to, but again, from experience, this is one of those things that could be a problem. Maybe not today, but well, okay, spring's coming, right? Spring. Hey, where are all the fans? Come on, we don't have any fans. What's going on here? Dan, what happened? I looked at the purchase order. Oh, we tried them, but the vendor didn't have them, right? And they can even put the date. Per Joe, or whoever you talk to or something like that. The more detail you put down here, yeah, because say 3 months from now, I won't remember, but the computer can record it. And when I look up fans and see the unfilled purchase order, I'll remember, oh yeah. Sure. Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me save and close this. Because that is a good question. You'll notice I can no longer use my blue purchase order button here because it's not active. It's closed, right? So here's what would happen. Boss says, Dan, we're out of fans. People are sweating. We need them. What happened? Oh, let me take a look. So I would go to products and services on the left-hand side. So you said it was the fans that are the problem, huh? Okay, let me go here. Here's my desktop fan. I'm going to click on desktop fan. And I'm going to run the report. So over here by edit, you can run the report on any product and it will show you the history. Yep. Okay. Nick, on the left-hand side here, well, you can go to the reports area, but I was driving it the way naturally would. So on the right side, every product under edit, you got make inactive, run report, duplicate. Yeah.
So the little arrow right there is this action. That one is what I would use with my description.
It's things you can do. So so let's say I'm not getting the fans anymore, and I'd say fine. Once we sell out, we're not going to buy anymore. I can make the whole product inactive. So that's one of the options. What I want to do is I want to run the report, which will show me every single transaction on that. Yeah. So I'm going to run report. It gives me the sales at the top. And I don't know if you noticed this on the left side. See what it did? It just opened up this. I could have also gone to reports and run the report, but then I have to customize it. Much easier to do it based on the item. So I scroll down.
I always saw my customers. Where do I find the vendor?
Okay. Yeah, good question, because I thought I did this one. Yeah.
I would send, services, and I only see the, customer side. So we can try to, oh.
Yeah. That's interesting. No. So it used to do that. That's why I'm kind of surprised. In that report, it showed both the customer and the vendor. But it's not. There is a report though. That works.
No, we don't have product. But I do need the report for the profit and loss.
Okay. So they, okay, that's one I didn't realize they changed. So you used to be able to, it's called a quick report. It used to be called a quick report, and it did show both sides. But for whatever reason, that's another one they did on me. So I have to go to reports here. And you should be able to go to by expenses and vendors, purchases by product service detail. No, it's not there either. It shouldn't be because there's no outstanding balance, and that's you can. I'm trying not to do that because that's, I mean, I know who I'm buying them from, right? So I could go do that, but that's cheating because we're trying to find out what happened to the fans, and I could be ordering the fans from different vendors, so that wouldn't necessarily give me the answer. It used to be you could just run that report. Now, what did it do? Huh. Well, there's another way to do it. It's a little more complicated here. Try this. It's the fans. I'll just let you edit it. I don't have to let you know because it used to be you go here and you just run the report and it showed you the sales, but also your purchase orders. And for some reason, now I know the vendor I did it from, so I could actually do it from the vendor side. Let's try that. Well, that's the idea. So I can, because I remember, but the 3 months from now, I might not. So the question was, how can you find out without having to know who the vendor was? And you should be able to do that. It's supposed to be easy. Yeah. Well, let's say when you need help, let's do this. That's not helpful. that's not gonna work. I'll have to look it up and let you know next week. It's there. It's gotta be.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
I just don't know where they put it.
All the other reports.
Um, yeah, that's open purchase orders. Well, let me try something. So at any point, you can run the open purchase orders. Of course, we don't have any open. And no. So you can modify a report to show it, but that's interesting. I hadn't realized they had changed that. Should be right here, but nope. Yeah, except then, yeah, I don't think it included purchase orders here. Yeah, it doesn't. So you can always customize reports, and on the filters, yeah, it's not going to. I'll play around with it. I'll let you know. It's got, I can't believe they completely took it out.
That would be strange.
Yeah, because I mean, that's the kind of thing you want to have for just the scenario I said, where you have a problem and you have to go back into history and find it. Because it will, yeah, it'll be there.
I'm sure it's embedded somewhere.
You never know anymore. Sometimes they do, but I gotta think that's something that's in there. And then the other way to do it is to create your own. And if we have to, I'll let you know next week and we'll do that. Because you can create any report from scratch and you can filter it any way you like. Okay. Let's make sure I'm not missing anything. Nope. Well, remember I put that memo in. So let's say 3 months from now, I need to find that. How can I find it? And by then, maybe I picked a new vendor and there's all kinds of transactions. I want to go to that original PO where I put in, I named the vendor and said who said what to me, so I can tell the boss it wasn't my fault. So I'll let you know next week, next Monday. Because it used to be, see, I went here. Yeah, even that. So you can also open the purchase orders and thumb through them, but 3 months of purchase orders, who wants to do that? Okay, well, anyway. Yeah, well, that's the computer's job. Why are we paying them for a computer if it can't do something that simple? Right? All right, so let me go back to the vendors here. So I know mine was ABC Warehouse. So I'm going to click on that purchase order, just open it and see there's my memo. But I shouldn't have to know that. The computer should be able to do that for me. But let's say I did remember, so I want to open it.
So where are you looking at the?
So I went to the vendor that I just had the purchase order for and closed.
Well, I guess I would do it that way, just keep.
Yeah, but then, right. But you shouldn't have to. And that memo, the whole point of having that memo is none of my purchase orders have memos. That one is going to really stick out if you see a long list. So I'll let you know for sure. Otherwise, they're going to get a nasty letter. All right, so you'll see the check mark down here where I put it is closed. Okay. So I scroll to the top, and now the computer did this part for me. It closed. The reason there's two things is because both of my line items are closed for different reasons. The bottom one's closed because I ordered 5 and I got 5. All right, all done. The top one's closed because I manually closed it saying I ordered 5, got 0, they're not coming in, so I closed it. Once there's check marks for all of these, the computer will automatically mark it closed up here. Okay. So when I just open it, I can see immediately this is a closed purchase order. So if I didn't know that already, I know it now. So let's go back to vendors. Pick another vendor. Let's make a purchase order. This time we're going to do 3 items. So I'm going to create a purchase order. Pick any vendor. And then down here, the products and services. As many as you like. 3 lines. 3 different items. So 3 lines, so like this. Because as you recall, we can do as many as we want, as long as that vendor has the stuff. When I was growing up, one of my favorite things to do on the weekend was walk down to the comic book store. And the people there was a family who owned it. They were, it was a bookstore, comic book store. And they're great to talk to. But one day they mentioned about how they had to go to their vendor. And I said, vendor? You only have one? They said, yeah, it's in San Francisco. And my first thought was, what if it burned down or something? I couldn't get my comics if you only have one vendor. I could be only, but I thought they were going, in my imagination, to this big marketplace, and they walked through and, oh, we'll take 10 of these and 2 of those. Nope, it's all automated. They just went down, picked up their case and came back. But it was one vendor. I said, I hope you have backups. All right, so this is 3 different items. Save and close. So in this scenario, the vendor's only going to be able to fulfill 1 item. Yeah. So that's okay. Happens. Yeah. Well, I didn't want to make the vendor the bad guy. Sometimes the vendor's caught in the middle. Their vendors stiff them. And it might not even be their fault. It could be somebody else. COVID, that happened all over the place. That's exactly what they did too. And sometimes, you know, really? Okay, so I'm going to create the bill and I'm going to add, and this time all 3 items will come over. But I'm only going to receive the top item. So in this case, the fans. I'll leave that. The quantity received is 0 for my second item and 0 for the third. Save and close.
You said to go to purchase order?
Yeah. So we made a purchase order with 3 line items, 3 different products. Now I just went to create bill. And I only received 1 item in full.
I only received what?
1 item in full. The other 2, you're going to put 0 and 0. No matter how many you ordered, you're getting none. Not yet. We're going to do that right now. After I pay the bill. I'll pay the 1 bill that I owe. So I'm going to create bill here. No, that's why you have to do the check mark, because it could be they're delayed, but I don't want to delay everything else. Just yeah. So I'm going to add this. Yeah. Pay the bill like we did before. Gonna make. So that's what I did. We're not going to do the purchase order yet. We're going to go to the open bill and make payment. So I ordered 3 different items. I only got 1. This is like we just did. Yeah, save and close. Yeah, now we have the open bills at 0 balance, but we have a purchase order with 2 different items. Go ahead and click on it. So we had perfect vendors who always gave us stuff immediately. Then we had pretty good vendors we sometimes lag behind, but we still got it. In this case, the vendor's striking out. So once you have paid off that one, so that's done. We're waiting. Vendor calls up. Oh, sorry, can't send you anything else. We're out. And they don't make that model anymore or something. Or COVID-19. Okay, whatever. So I'm going to go back to that purchase order by clicking this one purchase order here.
So you don't click in the blue purchase order thing?
You can. Yeah, I did. That's what showed me which one,
Okay.
which vendor was. And then I have to scroll down because here's the bill I got for the one item I did receive, and there's the payment I made. So I go down below to this purchase order. So this is exactly like we did before, except this time there's two items we're not going to receive. Since I received this one in full, so I recorded 4, got 4, it automatically closed it. But I'm going to close the other 2. So if I want to, I can put check marks here, or there's a shortcut because you can always go up here where it says open. Yeah. The difference is, because remember I said line items close and then the purchase order closes. This, when I save it, is going to close out every single item that has not been fulfilled. Right. It's not going to mess with this one because this one's already closed, but it's going to put 2 check marks here for me. So it'll save me the check marks. Yeah, do it up here. Switch it from open to closed. And you'll see it says closed. I haven't saved it yet, so it hasn't acted. But yeah, all this is going to do, it saves you the check. But yeah, you can. But it's one more thing I was going to tell you. If you had 50 items on here, you got to do 50 check marks if they're not going to do them all. So this will just do them all at once. But it's otherwise it's no different. No, not this, not on check marks. But you know what I do when I have to do that? I pretend like it's a video game and I'm trying to click as fast as I can because it's, you know, it doesn't take a lot of thought into that. All right, so vendors. Now, see my purchase order, it's gone. It's closed. So when you go back to the purchase order, I remembered who I did it from. Yeah, I remember who I just was working with. So I happened to remember that. If you forgot, go to your check register, the last check you wrote. That's for that. So this was general supply. So I just click on their name here. This brings up their history. And by the way, this is what the item used to look like. You used to get this history like this, including purchase orders. That's why I was so shocked. So here's the purchase order I just closed. I'm going to click on it. And you'll see it's still stamped closed at the top. But now down below, yeah, it closed these line items for me. But remember, it's a powerful tool to change this. Because when I say close, that means nothing else. What could have happened is the vendor said, oh, you know what? You ordered 5 fountain pens. I got 2. Want me to send you those? Oh, okay, better than nothing. All right, so I could have shorted it. I get them in. But right now, by using this up here, that line is automatically closed for me. So when I go try to get the bill, I won't see the purchase order because it's closed. So just remember, each line item has to be closed. And then up here at the top, this is the purchase order status, the whole purchase order. And it used to be, they had a big, I told you about the stamp. It looked like somebody hit it, stamped in the ink, stamped it on here, and a big red blue closed across the top. And I like that because now I have to look to the side. That's too small.
So because you got the additional 2 pins, you have to open up something else now?
Okay, so let's say he told me he wasn't saying anything. Then so I had a fine, okay, I'm gonna close this thing. So I just closed it. Now he calls me up and says, hey, you know what? I did find 2 fountain pens. You want them? Okay, yeah, I'll take them. Put them in the mail. Okay, so now I have to unclose, right? So I go to this. It's okay, here's my fountain pens. I can turn the check mark off. When I click save and close, it says, are you sure? Yes, I am. Now it reopened it.
Would you touch the punches?
No, because I haven't got them yet. Remember, he just promised. So see, boom, now it's waiting. So waiting in the mail, here they come. Okay. So I do this, go and open purchase order. But, oops, that's not what I meant to do. I meant to bill. Do the create bill. So I'm going to add this. But I ordered 5. He only sent 2. But he told me that's all I got. He's doing me a favor by sending those. Okay, I'm taking it. So there's my 2. And I'll save and close. Okay, so there's the bill. $8, make a payment. But I still have 1 purchase order still open. Because even though he sent me those items, he didn't send me all of them. And remember I said it's all or nothing. QuickBooks is very much like that. So I click on that. There's the purchase order. Down here. See, it's still not checkmark closed because I got 2. I ordered 4, got 2, but the computer thinks I'm still waiting for 2. Now I know I'm not getting them ever. So I'm just going to put check mark here, or you can go up to the top and mark it closed up here. So that happens too. That's pretty rare though. And now that's closed for good. The other option could be, I could say, okay, send me the 2, I'll give you a new purchase order. I could do that. But, you know, he's working off this purchase order and we're already late. So might as well just go and revive that 1 purchase order for the 2 items and then close it. All right. That's it for the week. Once I find that report, I'll be back Monday.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It always is.
I'm like, who's she people to?
Well, this is, I remember when we started, I said, you got to be nice to your vendors. And you try to, even if you have to do a little extra work, make them happy, make them happy. Because when it comes down to, I've only got 2 pens left, who should I send them to? I want them to think of me first. Yeah. Thank you, you too.
Bye, teacher. Bye, teacher.
Bye-bye.
I still have parents that call me teacher, even though I'm not, and I tell them, I'm not a teacher anymore, you can call me by my name, oh no. We'll have to call you teacher until you're deathbed.
Sometimes I've run across kids who've grown up now. And they'll say, you were a lot shorter. I said, well, you were, and you grew, and so now we're at eye level. Plus you were singing all the time and I was standing over you, so. Thank you, you too.
Thank you. Good night.
You're welcome.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you, you too.